There are about 720 vessels operating in the waters of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and 34 on the high seas. The 720 that operate locally are primarily open vessels, open boats constructed from wood and fiberglass, and of course propelled by outboard engines. There are a small but growing number of longliners, but they are quite small in numbers. They range from about 37 to 55 feet in length. The gear that is used is still primarily hand operated, and except for beach seines and the small amount of long lines, the drop lines, trolling lines, palang, bottom set long lines, all of these are operated by hand. So the fishery is still basically artisanal in nature. There are about 36 landing sites in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, categorized as primary, secondary, or tertiary, depending on the infrastructural development and the number of boats operating at the site. The bulk of the catches are sold locally to middlemen and fish traders for export to the United States and to the region, to retailers and directly to consumers. And prices are dependent on the species of fish sold and can range from $1.50 for the small coastal pelagics, which like the jacks and the robin and so forth, to $18 per pound for lobsters. On average, about 12% of the fish landed is exported from St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Over the past 10 years, the government has focused on the development of a commercially viable fishing industry, and a number of activities have been implemented or initiated to increase production through the creation of the environment for investment, of an environment for investment. One, the introduction of a fleet expansion program where we had $6 million placed at the National Commercial Bank for lending to fishing industry stakeholders. The idea of this program was to redirect fishing effort from the nearshore heavily fished areas to the offshore areas where there is greater potential for development in the capture fisheries. The program was also intended to reduce risk to fishers in their work environment and also risk to their investment, as well as to enhance capacity of stakeholders to utilize modern and efficient technology. The second is the promotion of the use of four-stroke engines, which consumes much less fuel than the two-stroke of comparable size. The engines have been used by some fishers. However, there is some reluctance given the lack of skill in maintenance among fishers. Thirdly, we have placed in the waters on the East Coast and on the West Coast moored fish aggregating devices, which are designed to aggregate fish, reducing the search time and fuel consumption, and also increasing production. We have had some fairly good reports of good fish aggregations around these fads which were deployed, and the fishers have been doing fairly well. Fourthly, we have had the strategic upgrade of infrastructure to meet international standards for marketing of fish and fish products. The construction of the fisheries centers at 8 landing sites on mainland St. Vincent and in the Grenadines was completed during the period from 1990 to 2009. These sites were significantly upgraded to include ice making, storage, fuel dispensing, retail stalls, lockers, docking facilities, desalination, and scuba diving facilities. The idea was that the fishery centers would create a demand for fish and fish products, which would drive investment in the harvesting activities, improve the livelihoods of our fisherfolk, increase employment generally, and generate increased foreign exchange. Fifthly, the establishment of markets in the United States, and we have done this recently, for tunas, all types of tuna, dolphin fish, kingfish, snappers, and groupers. 6, continued emphasis placed on the promotion and development of value-added products, and the technology for smoked fish, canned fish, marinated fish, salted fish, and all types of fish is available at the Fisheries Division. It is currently being promoted through fish nights, exhibitions, etc. 7, we have also been looking at building capacity for fishing industry stakeholders, including training programs in navigation and safety at sea, fishing technology, fish processing and handling, and small business management. These are initiatives which would allow for persons to have a successful investment in the fisheries sector. We are also looking at promoting the introduction of taking ice to sea by introducing ice boxes to the small open fishing vessels. Of course, it is obvious that the construction of the international airport will open new opportunities for access to regional and international markets. Furthermore, the anticipated increase in visitor arrivals will expand the domestic market, providing additional opportunities for sale locally. We must be reminded, though, that in recent times, consumers are more health conscious and demand higher quality standards for food which they consume. Fishing industry stakeholders must lift their game in order to compete with the well-established fishing industries internationally and regionally, with respect not only to the quality of fish, but also to the quantity. As I said, we are net importers of fish. It will be necessary, of course, for the fishing industry stakeholders to invest in new and more efficient technologies, better boats, proper freezers, etc., for processing of fish and fish products. They will also need to determine the most cost-effective mechanisms for obtaining inputs to the fishing industry and focus on the immense opportunities offered by production of fish by aquaculture, which is going to be a new area of promotion by the fisheries sector, by the Fisheries Division, and adding value to fish for export and local consumption. Fishers are advised to make use of the fleet expansion program, and I am disappointed that more of the private sector is not responding to the investment in larger fishing boats, because it is an extremely lucrative business. The fishing industry stakeholders will need to take a more business-oriented approach by seeking to form alliances and organizations that are cohesive with proper management structures to ensure sustainability, accountability, and transparency. Such structures should allow for cost-effectiveness in obtaining inputs and greater productivity. Opportunities lie in boat building. We are also looking at persons or private sector individuals sending proposals for investment for management of the fishery centers or development of the fishery centers as needs be. Investment in aquaculture. There is also an opportunity for provision of inputs to the fishing industry, fuel, gear, electronic equipment, etc. And of course the harvesting of fish and fish products to supply the local and international markets. Value-added production, smoked fish, salted fish, etc. And of course tourism related activities. Sport fishing is a very lucrative activity. In Jamaica, for example, they generate several $1 million in fees and revenue for the participants in sport fishing tours and so forth.
I think it is widely acknowledged that transport and access to transport play a very critical role in economic development, but more so in agricultural development. If you ask the ordinary citizen to characterize our agriculture, they might say to you that it's diverse, just like tourism. It's strikingly diverse. But on the other hand, we have a lot of transportation and infrastructural constraints that while we have this wide range of agricultural commodity, we really only manage to get a few of them on the regional and the extra-regional markets. Some products such as banana that we're very much familiar with and the rice and the sugar, those commodities utilize very traditional forms of transportation, while others such as the fresh produce, the fish, the cut flowers, that they say are very high-end commodities in agriculture, utilize and require more efficient and technologically up-to-date forms of transportation. The existence, therefore, of the enhanced air access, which in my view is a form of a high-quality system of transportation, becomes to me a very necessary precondition for the expansion of agriculture as well as the diversification of the agricultural sector. On the same note as well, it presents itself as an opportunity for social and economic development of our rural communities. One of the most direct impact of enhanced air access to farmers and farming community has to do with the opportunity to develop the diversification product. There will be emerging opportunities without a doubt for a farmer or a farmers organization to actively participate in agricultural export diversification from non-traditional commodities. There will also be the direct opportunity to farmers to now engage markets that were difficult in the past and to actually be able to fulfill and to supply some of the exotic products that is trending in the international markets. There is, however, the big question. How then do we position ourselves to maximize or to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to us from this improved air access? I think one of the things that farmers tend to overlook is the large existing market. When we speak about diversification, a lot of times we speak towards the diversification of the production base. But there would not only be opportunities for diversification for production from the export perspective, but also there would be the opportunity for the inclusion of the farmer, the agriculture and rural community in agro-tourism initiatives. So how then do we take advantage of all of this that we would have from the improved air access. I think one of the critical things that we have to do is to promote the idea of a competitive agriculture. A competitive agriculture that speaks to and pays specific attention to the issues of quality that we battle with, the issues of consistency of production, the issue of meeting international standards, the ability to provide products more effectively and efficiently on a sustained basis. I think the other way we take advantage of this opportunity is to go on an innovation drive in our farming community. I think one of the things that, our farmers, when we talk about application of science and technology and production systems, we think about, the new variety of seeds, as well as we think about, the greenhouses. But in terms of innovation in agriculture, one of the things that the farmers don't think about that they could take advantage of with the international airport is all this possibility for on-farm tourism. Thinking outside of the box, how do I use my agriculture, my farm to do something that's unique, that's different, but that's trending as well. Again, I think one of the other things that is needed for farmers to take advantage of all of the opportunities that they would have from the improved air access would be strategic planning. I mean, if you look at our agriculture sector, how it's worked traditionally, farmers tend to pay attention to the issues that are urgent, that are concrete, right in front of them, and then they miss sometimes the opportunities just way ahead in the distance. What we need are a lot of strategic thinkers, and what we need to do is to motivate the farmers enough to be visionaries for the future in agriculture. Another critical thing to enable farmers to take advantage of the improved access that they would have from the international airport is in terms of access to finance. I know their friend Mr. Williams, he mentioned about all of the possibilities of financing and so forth that are available. But from a farmer's perspective, finances is always a challenge because some of the issues that were on the board there that are prerequisites for receiving loans, normally a farmer grapples with those issues of collateral and risk management and all this stuff because of the nature of agriculture itself. So I think one of the things that we would have to do to enable farmers to take advantage is to structure and have systems and mechanisms in place that would allow them to be able to have, sustainable access to finance. And last but not least, to be very succinct and to the point, what I think is needed by the farmer is a bit of capacity building in terms of getting them to understand that sometimes it's not just the finance that's the issue, but the ability to sell what you have, the ability to put together, to collate a proper business plan to go to a financial institution, or the ability to be able to engage with a customer on your farm, a tourist on your farm, to be able to keep them engaged and keep them interested in what you have. We believe that, at the level of Winford, the international airport, of course, would provide huge and immense opportunities for agricultural development, but of course, dealing with all the challenges that we have just identified.